follow-up to our league we posted yesterday or day before, whatever day it goes live. Running through functionally the same 75. The only difference is I dropped the Teferi. Didn't really feel like it was doing enough in the matchups that I wanted to bring it in, especially compared to Kaito that you're already running in the main deck and already has a really good time into any of those Solitude style matchups. And instead running a second copy of Stony Silence in the board because, like I mentioned last time, Affinity is a horrendous matchup, really trying to tech heavily for it post board because it is a very popular matchup in some areas, and I don't want to be left wanting if that deck happens to pop up against me. So anyway, let's jump into our second league. Same 75, Fair Frog mid-range, sideboard white cards. When I'm not trying to cantrip. And after turn one, I think cantrips just get like exponentially worse the farther the game goes on. It kind of is summed up by, I think Modern right now is not a format where you can afford at all to like dig for answers. You need to have your answers in your hand right now. Uh-oh. Kind of hope that their hand's not very good. They did mulligan pretty heavy. So if like I can Bowmaster down this drone token. They didn't play a 0-drop last turn. I kind of feel like there's a chance that they don't have another 0, and I might rather kill this robots. Obviously gonna feel, is what it is. Let's go ahead and shoot down this robot. EE on 2 is fine. EE on 2 is slightly less fine. Just want to warp Quantum Riddler here. I want to play the frog. Oh, he just play the frog. So if they go land Pinnacle Emissary next turn, I can go to my turn, warp Quantum Riddler, into turn, it warps out, and I fatal push the Pinnacle Emissary. Yeah, that's fine. All right. This is pretty good for me because I get to ninjutsu in Kaito, hold up Subtlety, and start taking away. just going to start embleming and try to race. I don't think you got a 0 drop. Dang it. 2 for 2, you've gotten me. 2 for 2. Let's take up attack first. If they want to block with the Pinnacle Emissary, that saves me a removal spell. Am I saving? I guess I can warp first. I'm fatal pushing this Pinnacle Emissary. And I'm saving the Shieldred's Edict in case they have a Kappa. Talk about the fact that Urza Saga has dodged another BNR. We have to play against it for another season. Speak of the devil. Kaito down to 1. Opponent does have Claws of Gix. I'm going to lose to the double Urza Saga after all of this. Never mind. Did they need to scoop here? I block. They kill Kaito. I guess they would have to sack, like they'd have to not make a construct and sack off too much to survive. Well, I don't kill because of Claws of Gix. They can sack stuff and gain life, but they can't sack stuff and make a construct. So they just have to like spend their whole next 2 turns sacking stuff. And why can they only sack twice? They have 4 mana and Claws of Gix. Doesn't have to tap. I wonder if they could have killed me. I block a token. I attack back for 3. They sack. Second Claws of Gix. Token. Untap. Nah. I hope not. Maybe they could have. It's okay. We're about to bring in the house. Bring in the house and pray. Yep. Uh-huh. Got it. I don't have a Godless Shrine in this list. Sideboarded 2 Force of Despair for Affinity. Haven't been able to board them in yet. I don't get what the hype is with Force of Despair. Because, like, this hand, Force of Despair does nothing against. All of this. Force of Despair is doing literal nothing into this. But every time I ask for, like, suggestions against Affinity, people are like, Force of Despair, so good. Yeah. I don't really want to fight over this, but I think I'm just going to take my 3 for 1 here. Force of Despair, eh? Yeah, it is really hard to find a catch-all for them. It's just like Force of Despair does some stuff into some starts that you already have a lot of cards for. And I don't know, I just don't like going farther into cards that like line up into the stuff you're already yeah. I don't like Force of Despair lining into the stuff that like you're already trying to do with the rest of your deck that just doesn't fight against some stuff. Like you're already a subtlety, mystical dispute, counterspell, Thoughtseize deck. You do fairly well into the Kappa starts. But what you don't do well into is like the munitions manufacturing starts. What I don't do well into is anything with the card Delighted Halfling. This card makes me cry. What on earth are we doing? Oh, is this just Brood Scale? All right. We'll just go to game 2. Forest Delighted Halfling into Eldrazi Temple Kozilek's Command. This might also be the Eldrazi Yawgmoth deck. I thought that deck died out like months and months ago. Died out / never really took off. Yeah, I mean, if there's a deck that I feel like I have a very good chance of just randomly losing to, the Urza Saga Brood Scale deck with Delighted Halfling is probably pretty high up on the list. I miss times when Moon killed Saga. It's so stupid how unpunished a land of that caliber can be played now. I I for one really truly 100% believed that when they made that rules change, Urza Saga was going to get banned in like the next two announcements, and it just didn't. And I was annoyed. I thought like, oh, that has to be the dagger in the heart. Like Urza Saga just has no counterplay now. Like I was watching Aspiring Spike stream the other day, and he said something about he's got so many sideboard options to bring in for Saga decks, so many cards that like hate on Saga. And I'm still just like waiting to hear what those are, because I feel like I've got nothing. Even if I splash for a third color, I feel like there's nothing that just legitimately hates on Saga. Top decked a Flesh Raker. Oof. I guess that's also a pretty good top deck. I think I'm just going to consign this trigger. Like you've got Veil of Summer up. You're going to be keeping that around or not anymore. Like I'm just gonna try to kill you really quickly. All right, so on my upkeep, I'm gonna cycle you to draw 2. Discard you. Discard you. I could cycle again, but I don't want to use up the 2 mana. Is your unknown card a Kozilek's command? So we'll go discard, 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 jump the frog. I think I might attack with the Harbinger. It's like if you want to trade off the Flesh Raker for this, sweet. Let's do it. Tanuki JJ coming in with the Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. They can sack and block. That's fine. They're losing mana. I am okay with any block they make. I know the only thing they have in their hand that I care about is this Ugin Eye of Storms. I have consigned to memory now. Either they sack and like lose the mana here and can't cast the Ugin and eat my Harbinger, or they keep this around and had a minute work. Hope testing is going well. I appreciate it. We finished the last league 4-1. My one loss was to Goryo's, and in my 5 games against my 2 Goryo's opponents, they turn 1 surveilled Natraxa into the yard 4 times. It was kind of hilarious. It was extremely gross. I hated every second of it. Definitely made Goryo's look like the best deck in the format for one match. I also kept a one-lander that didn't pan out well, but we're not going to talk about that one. Gross is an understatement. True. So very, very true. In the upcoming RCQs, there was supposed to be one in Baton Rouge this Sunday, and they moved it to like 3 weeks out, which is the same weekend that Top Tier is doing theirs. So there's a little bit of a clash. I guess I want to lead on something that can get Watery Grave in case you have like turn 2 Flesh Raker. Got it. Just gonna name frog. Yep. Seems reasonable. You think this means that they've got a dismember right here? One of those pays out better than the other one. Yeah, I saw the Baton Rouge one was like $50 entry compared to the 25 or whatever of top tier. Let's see what we hit. Do I want to just jam Harbinger? It's probably fine. Like if they've got Dismember, they've got Dismember, and I'm not really playing around it much anyway. Deck is trash. Titan Cook, Cindy Hyde Smith for president. That's wild. Cindy Hyde Smith for president. Please don't Veil Summer me. No. Brutal. That's unfortunate. Definitely means we're going the cycle pest control route. Yep. Or do I have any interest in going the suicide harbinger route? Probably not. Maybe should have. They do have the dismember. Oh no. Unholy heat. And they didn't go after my harbinger. They have another one. Are they wanting to race? No. My brother in Christ, please, please stop with the lands. Okay. Okay, firing that off because it's a card out of hand. Yep. I was gonna say you're gonna have to start attacking at some point. Do I have any interest in attacking with Harbinger? I think I do. Is there anything that punishes me? Would have to be like Unholy Heat, target the frog, but I've got Force Negation. If they want to put a counter on the half or on the Myco spawn, that's fine. We are the champions, my friends. And we'll keep Force Negationing to the end. Love to see it. Oh no. Linden. I'm on the play. I'm pretty positive this is Boros energy. Because I know Linden's been like tweeting a lot about Boros energy, doing like deck guides and stuff. Want to talk to me? Ravioli. Ravioli with cheese. He's also been like trophying leagues and top 8ing challenges with Boros like crazy recently. Let's see if I can TGO Linden 3. Eighth place challenge, second place challenge. Couple top 32s with Mardu energy in the challenges. That's a really good draw. I think I'm going to get basic Swamp and Thoughtseize here. Play around Blood Moon a little bit. The non-believers are going to say it's rigged. It is a Roku, and part of me is feeling like I should take it. Like, my life is not easy taking the Roku, but I feel like I've got some amount of game into Blood Moon. Like, just finding another basic island. Top decking a counter spell. Lightning Bolt. Drawing that. Man out here with Lightning Bolt in the year of our Lord 2026. All right, Ragavan, be nice. No Thoughtseize, no Thoughtseize, no Thoughtseize. Cling to dust. Not giving up the treasure token. Kaito ain't doing anything for me. It's probably just a Flage follow-up. Can we find Counterspell? Smart of him to not cast the Cling to Dust. I think a lot of people would have cast it just to like get the card draw, but putting the Cling to Dust into my graveyard when you have Flage would be a pretty big liability. So, super heads up. Unfortunately, I don't think I have any outs to this because my only way of answering Flage is like Shieldred's Edict or Fatal Push, and I won't have Revolt. I think I should have Force a Negation off the Spell Snare and kept the Sink into Stupor as a land. I think that was a big punt there. They do have a lot of 2-drops, but when I Thoughtseize, they didn't have any in hand, and I had Quantum Riddler to warp. So, like, keeping Spell Snare is playing into them finding a 2-drop, maybe, but they could not. But keeping the land is playing into hard casting the Quantum Riddler that I already know about having access to. Was countering the Blood Moon even correct? Well, I didn't have a second blue source to hard cast Riddler if I didn't. And that was my only threat at that moment. See if they found their third land drop. Right on time, Spell Snare. Always is. It's going to be Flage. Yep. Man. Boros, am I right? Hitting the lands and some good stuff to do is a little rough. Discard double Ocelot Pride. What does that mean? Would you be sacking double Ocelot Pride to stop? Or discarding double Ocelot Pride? We know they've got a Bolt. So if I fetch end of turn, putting myself really, really close to just dying to like Bolt double escape Flage. My 69th card might not get in here in time for RCQ weekend. What like 69 in the main deck? I guess worst case scenario, you can run 67 cards. Take 4, go to 5, fetch down to 4. I don't know what my plan is from here. Maybe stop drawing lands. I need like pest control to take care of the board, but I'm still dead to Flage Bolt. Ugh. Man, Boros, when they have like a reasonable start plus keep drawing like the right half of their deck, it's pretty rough. Like I think if they had missed that third and fourth land drop for a turn or two, we might have had some chances, some draws we could hit to. But hitting like the Spyro, hitting the lands they needed and the Spyro was so much pressure on us. Their draw lined up perfectly against your 1-for-1 removal hand. Yeah, it did. Which I think we were like pretty okay into their opener. But that Spyro just kind of sealed the deal. That thing was backbreaking. Their turn 3 was critical, being able to Flage. You can't use their mana as a swing turn. That turn was okay because all they had was like the cat token on board, and I had an answer to the escape Flage. But hitting the Spyro to get rid of some dead stuff and make a go wide board while just being able to like fuel Flage escaping over and over again. That Spyro, I'm telling you, was like the knife in the coffin, sword in the coffin, whatever. Just is it another Neoform? Probably has been asked before, but how do you feel about the new spoiled 3-mana conditional wrath? The one that like you have to gain life for it to be full on wrath mode. I think that's a pretty big condition to have to fill. All right. They have Summoner's Pact. They only have one land. I just want to ditch this Noxious Revival. Yeah, I'm gonna ditch the Noxious Revival because it makes them drawing a fetch land significantly worse. Like they're already 2 lands off of being able to, 2 lands away from being able to Eldritch Evolution. I have a chance to draw more Thought Seizes, more counter magic, whatever. So they need to hit 2 more green cards and 2 lands. Where I just want to hit a bunch of counters and Thought Seizes and I think I like Kaito here more. Kaito gets to see 2s deep on the zeros, where Frog's only seeing the next card. Dawn, what's up? That doesn't do a whole lot. Vixaria, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're having an awesome afternoon. Appreciate you coming around and hanging out. All right. They hit land drop and are passing. Which I would assume means something is missing from their hand. Fair enough. I really appreciate opponents scooping here and not making me tank too much. But we know Eldritch Evolution, Summoner's Pact, 2 Pact negations. My only guess is their draws were like more blue spells. And so they wouldn't be able, even if they hit a green card, they wouldn't be able to Summoner's Pact for an Allosaurus Rider and play the Allosaurus Rider. I think that's like the only thing that makes sense there. Okay, so the Neoform player we played against earlier went all in on the Oculus Oculus Ice Fang Quaddle plan post board. So I think I'm going to board to play a little bit more into that and a little bit less into the traditional draws and see how it fares. Good draw. No third land. Love to see it. I don't even think I'm casting Thoughtseize here. I kind of don't want to give them a free land for, or free mana for like a Veil of Summer. But if they get a tapped source here, I was going to say if they get like a hedge maze, I would Thoughtseize on my turn. I don't really care about Kaito anymore. Well, we're definitely casting something this turn. Fair deck. You have second Veil of Summer. Nope. Okay, what do we got? Allosaurus Rider, Neoform, Planar Genesis, Eldritch Evolution, Galta, Nourishing Shoal. By just taking Planar Genesis is the only card that really does anything. It's either Planar Genesis or Allosaurus Rider. And I kind of want to make them 2-for-1 themselves or 3-for-1 off of Allosaurus Rider. I kind of think if you're on the Neoform side and your opponent thought seizes you and takes Planar Genesis when staring down like Allosaurus Rider and Neoform and Eldritch Evolution and all this stuff, you probably just like scoop the match right there. Just say, you're right. This wasn't the right time. Yeah. Fair enough. Not my match. For everybody hanging out now, if you haven't seen it, I posted the link to it earlier in chat. I don't know if it's still copied. Yeah. This link is to a video that the Battle Chads and I and Young Dingo all did a couple days ago, where we talked about all of the breakdowns of our picks, like our tier rankings for all the modern decks going into the RCQ season. And Neoform was talked about. And my comment about it was, I'm pretty sure Blue Black X decks are like the sleep paralysis demon for Neoform players. You can sit here and just click random buttons and have a reasonable chance of winning the matchup. And I hate that that's the case, but it is what it is. Jeskai blank. Just take Riddler, get best card out of hand. Try to fight over these Felias with some Bowmasters. You cannot win against counter decks as Neoform. You have like some game. You have reasonable game into decks that are only countering you once. The problem is when players counter with counter backup or pressure you into your counter spells being awkward. So like Thought Seize to shape your hand or to take away a key piece or putting some amount of pressure on the board before a counter, that kind of stuff messes you up really bad. But if it's just like a single counter, you're okay. Subtlety is a pretty decent draw. Yeah, Subtlety is pretty nuts against Veil of Summer. Just kind of forces the Pact of Negation issue. See if opponent's gonna jam a Ophelia. Got it. Got a Riddler. All right. Well, hopefully we can just eat Solitude white card. that. Guess we'll just go ahead and Fatal Push the Felia, because like there's no way that they're gonna Solitude this army token. They're just gonna attack in and blink the Riddler. But I should let this go first. So if they want to Solitude in response to this trigger, they can get rid of the other Felia. But if I like Fatal Push first, there's probably a decent chance they don't discard, and I'd rather them draw 1 than 2 here when they need to be hitting land drops. All right, now just easy Kaito off the top here. Just make everybody's life happy. Easy Kaito off the top. Dang. All right, so Felia Solitude, 3 unknowns. Is there a world where I just want to subtlety this instead of Bowmasters? Probably not. I more think I just want to save subtlety because of the known solitude. But I'm also just guaranteed to rip this Kaito off the top. From the top ropes. That's not bad. I kind of thought with that pause there, they were going to solitude it. Why is Hammer Time dead? I guess because there's a bunch of Solitude decks running around. Solitude off of Felia. Am I just subtletying this? I think so, because this screams ephemerate to me. And they don't have the ability to hard cast Solitude next turn. Oh, do they have... They pitched Felia. They pitched the Felia that I knew about. And they put Solitude on top. So I'm guessing that means they... Fair. Can we hit the land? Land hardcast Riddler? Yeah, we can. What kind of a question is that? We have nothing white in the main deck. If Solitude, Ephemerate. Solitude, Pitch Solitude is their last two. Okay. So they did not have the Ephemerate. I need to find an answer before their Quantum Riddler. Nice. Watch them Surveil Flage. Well, they can't get it back with basic Island, so could be worse. Son of a bitch. Today, man. What is with all of these surveils hitting hot fire today? Yeah, you got it. I feel like every surveil my opponents have played has just been on point. Can we get a Kaito? Nope. Okay. Now they only need to rip Arena. Why are you putting this bad juju out there? We can just let them fail too. That's fine. Kaito, Frog, Riddler. Not really one I was looking for, but we're banning Vexaria. You followed 30 seconds ago, but you're good. All right. This is going to be a weird one, but I'm going to let this resolve. When they enter combat, I'm going to Bowmasters, have Bowmaster shoot itself, and then Fatal Push. The reason I'm doing it this way, I know it seems really, really awkward. I don't want to leave things up to chance. I don't want to go for Bowmaster, shoot my opponent, and they just flage, attack, and shoot me. I would still get to chump block, but I would just like give them an extra 3 damage that I don't need to give them. And it's the same thing where if like I respond to Flage with Bowmasters, they might shoot the Bowmasters, but they also just might shoot me. And if they shoot me and then haste and attack me, then I just gave up 6 life instead of 3 and a Bowmaster token. then counterspelling this instead of subtlety because I don't want them to be able to warp it. I don't want them to like put it back on top of their library and warp it next turn. That's good. That's very good right now. See, deck, you can do stuff. You're cool like that. You're hip. Fine going with their turn because they have to like fetch up. Not the world's best draw. What do they do with the Casey Jones on top? Children's Edict. All right, so their top card is the Casey Jones. I would really like to see a counter spell. Well, it's not a counter spell, but it's pretty good. I can Edict Casey Jones, Cling to Dust the Flage. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be arenaing this and not just hard casting it. Leave some creatures in my yard in case I need to Cling to Dust some life later. So Casey Jones resolves, respond to the trigger with Shieldred's Edict. So you can't draw into like an ephemerate and draw 75,000 more cards. All right. Hardcast Ragavan and discard. So what if I just Kaito tick up? Is that good? Is that bad? I think I ninjutsu here. I go for the attack, try to ninjutsu. And 0. This way, if opponent's last card off that Casey Jones was a Flage, I could consign or cling to dust the Flage before they got to go to their main phase. And if they just want to like attack at the Kaito, I'm completely okay with that. Ragavan doesn't trigger. And we'll just escape Cling into turn to draw a card. How come you're always fighting for your life, but my blue-black ex-opponents always have it? I wish I had a good answer for that, but I don't. Not attacking you is weak. They know you surveilled top. It's like hit or miss, right? Because, yeah, it's not the greatest. But at the same time, what if I surveilled something dead to the top? Or what if I, like, is it getting better for them? What if I surveilled, like, a fatal push to the top? An answer to Ragavan that if I draw cool, if I don't draw cool, and they're just like not getting my Kaito off the board. That seems like a good position for me. Like from their side, I kind of think getting Kaito off the board is your biggest priority because Kaito's 100% how you lose this matchup. Kaito is just absolutely nuts. His hand sucks. His hand sucks slightly less. Throwing back what? Subtlety. Really want to throw back a subtlety. Throw back frog. Much rather see that than a Ragavan on one. MH3 Ragavan would trigger on Planeswalkers too. It's the Psychic Frog effect, right? Psychic Frog triggers off Planeswalkers. I have nothing I care about white mana for, so. No Felia either. Teferi. Blage, sure. Not quite as scary right here as it is out of like Boros energy. Just pass back. I don't mind getting to a point where I just like hard cast a subtlety on something every turn. Maybe I sink into stupor or something here. Maybe they end a turn, flash in Ophelia in response to my fetch. You have to be a little bit careful of Mystical Dispute. So if they get like a Surveil here and set up to escape Flage next turn, and then just like have Mystical Dispute for subtlety, could take some extra damage, some damage, some Joe DiMaggio for you baseball fans out there. Hallowed Fountain into the yard. Do have Felia. Do have land for Flage. Do have Teferi Time Reveler. I believe I am slightly convinced that my opponent has got a Mystical Dispute. What if I respond with Shieldred's Edict? Called it. All right. So I still have to deal with the Flage in the yard, but I don't have to deal with Flage plus like a Quantum Riddler this turn. They draw off the Teferi. That's pretty surprising. If you hardcast Subtlety there, they dispute, you get the Tef off the board, and Felia can do nothing that turn because they only have 1 mana left after dispute. Felia can still attack in because they can just blink the Subtlety. It's pretty much nothing, but it's a little something. My concern was more I wanted to get Felia off the board. And maybe I prioritize that a bit too much. But Felia just makes like so many top decks potentially terrifying. Do me a favor and do not have second copy of Mystical Dispute. Okay. Solitude or Ophelia. Getting out from the Teferi is near impossible, he says. Near impossible. So you did have the Solitude, you just didn't want to use it. Can't foresee our opponent to throw. That's also very fair. Do they have the consign? The consign is brutal here. That's not a consign. Are they just fetching to fetch? I don't really like that. Just fetching for the sake of fetching there. If they got Ephemerate for Flage, that's kind of rough, but put Solitude on. Do they not have a blue source to fetch? Do they not run like a Hallowed Fountain? Oh, wait, no, they binned the Hallowed Fountain earlier. They didn't have a blue source to fetch. They binned Hallowed Fountain and Basic Island. Oh, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. That consign probably loses us the game. They can sign the ETB on the subtlety, and then they get to attack back into the Kaito, like free and clear. Oh, that would have been so brutal. All right. Well, I know I have to stun this Flage. It's not really much reason to do anything before combat. And then I think I'm just hard casting the Quantum Riddler from Warp and like hoping that they whiff on this draw step a little bit. And if they whiff on this draw, I think the game's like close to over. If they hit something relevant, we're fighting. They hit another Solitude. That's even worse. I like Warp Consign. The Warp trigger doesn't go on the stack until the end of the turn. So if you warp, there's nothing to consign except for the ETB trigger on the Quantum Riddler. All good. Don't have any attacks, so can't do anything here. They get to draw 2. It's just a Solitude. There's like a billion cards this could be that wreck me. That's definitely one of them. Are we attacking? All right, so everything's going after Kaito, so I'm just going to double block this Riddler, get it off the board. Like, Kaito's dying regardless, so fighting to save it doesn't do me a lot. This is just a case of their Riddler draws have been a bit hotter than mine. But I am back to up on clock. Unfortunately, it's up on clock in a spot where where it's kind of awkward because Moto's getting a little laggy with too much stuff going on. I'll consign this Riddler ETB trigger. We're definitely in a spot where, like, it's kind of up to them to kill me. No blocks. If you got an ephemerate, you got an ephemerate. All right, well, I'm definitely not showing them Harbinger. Five minutes for game three. Yeah, and me being on the play is a big deal going into game three because, like, I have draws that can kill them in 5 minutes. And they do have, like, some ways of stopping those draws, but they're not very consistent. I've got a reasonable amount of ways to, like, stop myself from dying in 5 minutes. But being on the play, I can absolutely have. I think I'm gonna. I got 2.5 minutes. I'm gonna reset Moto real quick, so I can try to go into game three with, like, functioning clock. Come on. Don't think I'm changing anything up for game three. Yep. Most of the hands I have that can potentially win kind of start with, like, Bowmaster into Kaito. Do you want to land? See if they want to Felia here. I mean, they're going to have to be thinking along the same lines of, like, they need to kill me in 3 minutes, which isn't super easy to do. Something, something, something. Bowmaster into Kaito, something. We're not playing for the time. We're playing for the lethal. Taking up Kaito to make sure that I've got lethal in 2 attacks, even if they kill my Bowmaster. We got so hasty. This is just consign the Flage ETB or the Flage evoke trigger. Now, if you want to consign that, you don't get to Flage kill. That's a little annoying. Doesn't end up mattering, but would have loved to have hit a blue card there to still have subtlety up. Either way, like I said, I think we have high roll draws that kill them in 5 minutes. I think it's very, very difficult for them to kill us in 5 minutes if we play halfway defensively. But we don't want to play defensively. We want to show the power of Frog. But back-to-back 4-1s, pretty good. I don't have too many complaints there. Like our one loss League One was to Gorio's surveilling over Atraxa. Turn 1, both games 1 and 2. And our round 2 loss was to Boros Energy, doing pretty above average Boros Energy stuff. And everything else, every other match went pretty smoothly. Like we beat Agorios, we beat Affinity, we beat Jeskai Blink, we beat Neobrand a lot, like once each league, something like that. I'm pretty happy with Frog Tide. I think that the games you lose are effectively to your opponent's like absolute nut draws. And you have got a lot of game into anything else.